my individual goals for this final phase of our program, where we're designing the whole entire for the next 12 months, were power, strength, and slightly aerobic conditioning as a smaller emphasis. So I was really just focusing on power and strength, hypertrophy. I want to achieve just increase in strength as implied, and then also just a increase in muscle size and muscle mass. So those were my main kind of drivers on selecting what the background of this workout plan would be. So power, strength, and then slightly aerobic conditioning, because that is also very important, not only for being physically healthy, but also just for a lot of other things for long-term health. I plan to use periodization for this as well. This is not due to being like a sport or anything along the lines. I'm not playing within a season. I'm just average gym goer, and it's not for a competitive event. I just say that periodization allows you to not only not get bored of working out, it allows you to include more recovery, as I include a deload mesocycle, and then also it just overall prevents plateaus and keeps you growing, because a lot of the times with like me, I've been going to the gym for a couple years and I've experienced plateaus, and over the time those get pretty hard to kind of get past yourself. It just like it is very not only like kind of unencouraging when you seemingly can't get over this one little bump in your training, and I feel like periodization really helps with that if done correctly. Obviously periodization makes it a lot harder to train, but I believe it is worth it in this case. Another factor was keeping training fresh. If you're just doing the same thing over and over again for a year in the gym, you're obviously going to get pretty bored. And I feel that if you are switching it up, having different things occur every so often, you're going to not get bored and you're going to want to keep going. 2 physical training factors that are most important to me, I would say, are strength and hypertrophy at the moment. Periodization will help me gain these by implementing them into my cycles. So during strength, I will focus on lower overall reps and increasing the weight on the movement. This will allow for more strength to be built, and I will focus on this during that period of the workout or workout plan. And then during hypertrophy sections, I will up the target rep range to 10 to 12 with lighter weight, inducing muscle hypertrophy, inducing more growth, bigger muscle size, bigger muscle mass. And what elements of your program do you plan to integrate together in training sessions? I'm a big fan of doing cardio after the working out. Keeps me more fresh, and that's just kind of how I've done it previously, and that's how I kind of plan to keep doing it this way. I tend to warm up in the gym doing static stretches and just dynamic stretches, and just kind of making sure that I'm warm, and then after the gym or after working out, proceeding stretching, and then finally after that doing some sort of aerobic conditioning. After, I usually try to go 3 times a week for aerobic conditioning, and that's kind of what I planned in this assignment as well. Another thing is mobility training. We talked about this earlier in the semester, where it not only helps with strength, but it also helps prevent injury, which is also very important. I've had a couple injuries in my past, had a couple knee surgeries that I still feel the effects of today, and I believe that if mobility and like overall kind of stability training was kind of more consistent throughout my earlier life, I definitely would have avoided those injuries or been able to recover from them quicker. Potential challenges that I plan with this or would anticipate with this would be definitely figuring out like the timing of it all, because I am currently going to start the nursing program here. I'll be going to clinicals, working 12-hour shifts, having class a lot of the times, balancing with work. It would be difficult, and especially trying to fit to a pretty strict schedule of, I believe, mostly 20 workouts a week. That's pretty difficult, but I'm sure I could make it happen, especially if I'm very committed to it. How many training sessions will I do per week? Let me pull this guy up. Usually it is going to be around 15 to 20. At some points it dips to 12 to 14. Just kind of depends on, or sorry, that's per month. It just depends on what type of, or when in the cycle I am. And yeah.